welcome to Side Talk. My name is Jude Dawam, and today I'm sitting down with an icon, a powerful actor, and an overall kind person. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you Elvina Ibru. Elvina, you're welcome.
Thank you,
It's
Jude.
great to have you here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm humbled.
I usually don't shake, but right now I think I'm shaking.
Please, not that serious. Don't shake. I don't bite.
All right, so I want to start this discussion today like a side talk. So we're going to start from the side.
Okay.
So I'm starting from when you were 6 years old. You did one Calabar dance, and yes, I meant that.
Where did you find that out?
Trust me, I know how to dig. It's side talk.
Wow.
I don't want to gossip. I love gossip. Like, that's my job, right?
Okay.
So you did one Calabar dance, and then somehow the instructor picked you up and said you were the best, and sort of like everything changed after that.
Well, as far as my acting is concerned,
Yes.
yeah, actually, I think I was first. My life first changed not when I performed as a 6-year-old, but when I went to watch something called Ipitumbi.
Ipitombe,
In-
South African.
Yes, 1972.
Yeah.
The Igbo organization brought Ipitombi, Mariam Makeba, and Hugh Masakela for Festac 77. Sorry, not 72, 77. I was 5. And we went to watch this show, and it was a musical. And it was so beautiful. And, there was a song, My Middle Name is Baby. Now from Delta, we name our children Baby a lot. And there was a song in it entitled Baby. And we were sitting in the front row, and the guy was singing, Baby, baby, I love you forever. Baby, baby.
Oh, yeah.
And I said to myself, oh my God, he's singing to me. You know? But really, I think that was when I first fell in love with the theater. It was beautiful. South Africans are amazing vocalists and amazing dancers. It was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. Apart from growing up with, watching masquerades, doing festivals and things like that, because, that is also theater-like, if you know what I mean. And then when I was 6, about a year later, in those days, NTA used to come around to schools. And I was at Corona, and they had programs like Kiddies Junction and Tales by Moonlight, and they would come and pick children that were, they felt were gifted. And so the first performance I ever had was for some school play, I can't even remember, and they said we needed to dance a combi. Which I'd never
Cross
done.
River.
That's the then Calabar. Yeah. So the instructor just said, okay, do as I do. And she danced and we copied. And the next thing I was given a whistle and saying, oh, you're the leader, blah, blah, blah. And then after that, NTA kept coming around and picking me. And I was in all these little shows on TV. And that was it. Well, I was still deceiving myself for a long time, but I was going to be a lawyer.
But I was about to ask that question as well. So you were supposed to be a lawyer.
In my mind.
In your mind. But did that 6-year-old change everything while you...
Well, like I said, deceived myself for a long time because I knew I loved theater, and I was blessed enough to come from a family that could afford to send me to very good schools in the Oyibo and all that. And Oyibo people, when they see a bit of talent, they will just say, "Oh, my protege," and they grab you. And so when I went to boarding school, I was noticed by the elocution teacher. This one, she's not your average actor. So, I was thrown into the world of amateur dramatics and, school plays and little shows and stuff. And then when I was 17, my theater arts teacher made me audition for a troupe called the National Youth Music Theatre. And I think that's when things really changed. It's probably the biggest youth theatre in England. There's the National Youth Theatre, the National Youth Music Theatre. And I auditioned for both because I was blessed with a voice as well. And I got chosen for both. And I went with the music because, of course, I love music as well. And the year I was in the troupe, my contemporaries were people like Jude Law and what's his name? This brilliant guy that was in Train Spotting, Johnny Lee Miller, Angelina Jolie's first husband. Those were, the kids I was sharing the stage with. And it was my first experience of performing professionally, in a professional theater. And that was when I knew that it's like this law. I don't know.
How did
I'm gonna have to think about this law.
how did the parents feel though? Like when this change happened, like Nigerian parents.
Well, my mom was always supportive of me. Unfortunately, she was on her deathbed when I decided that, yes, it was theater I wanted to go into. My father nearly had cardiac arrest. But, life is funny because my mom was on her deathbed. My dad was not happy. And she said to him, you know what, Michael, you know, all your children, they've done what you want them to do. This one, allow her. Just let her go. You know? So he was never really happy about letting me go into theater school and all that. But I think because it was like kind of like one of my mom's wishes that just let this child do what she wants to do. She won't let you down. And then, of course, fast forward to a few years later, I think the first job I had when I left school was with the BBC. And then it was a different story.
Because I was about to come to that space.
Ah.
Now I said, okay, immediately you went into you worked with the BBC,
Yeah.
and the BBC in the media is huge.
Mm.
So what happened? How did you get into the BBC, and why did you leave?
Well, I auditioned. In your last term at theatre school,
Yeah.
they have what they call Agents Day, where you perform a duologue and a monologue. And the school calls different agents, casting directors, management companies, and all that to look at the students and to see if there are any potential, um kids that they
Outcast.
felt, so I was blessed enough to have been chosen by a talent management company, and I got an agent. So it was left to the agent to look out for jobs that felt I would be suited for. So it was one of the agents, the first term I left theater school, that said, look, the BBC are auditioning for a children's program. It was BBC Radio. They're auditioning for children's programs, and they want people that are good with languages and are familiar with all kinds of music, not just British music. And he knew I was a very musical person. So I went and I auditioned, and I was coming home for the holidays. And I said, look, if I go home, will my chances be shortened? And they were like, no, 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 just leave us all your contacts and blah, blah. And one of the contacts I left in those days, to show you how old I am, in those days we had the digital lines, the ones with the two
Yes.
front,
Yes.
when the 7 numbers came out. And those were the reliable ones. Because you could be trying to get through to the analog line. So I gave them my dad's own. Because now big people get that, 7. So I didn't want any risk. So I said, this is my dad, if you can't get da, 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 da. So it was my dad's office they called. And once my dad heard that I was working for the BBC, as in they called and said, we'd like her to do it. We have her ticket, blah, blah, blah. I wanted to come back and start. Not time. Do you know my daughter?
Oh my goodness.
She works for the BBC. I always knew she had it in her.
Oh, and the story changed.
That's how the story changed. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so now you work for the BBC for how long?
It wasn't long. I think it was about 4 or 5 months. But just having that little, how to say your break, just being in that environment and establishment gave me the opportunity to meet other people in the business. And like I said, I'm a theater person, really.
Yeah.
Film was something that was almost forced upon me, to be honest. But my love has always been and always will be. My first love will always be theater. So I got the opportunity to branch out into the West. And of course, my National Youth Music Theatre thing had already given me some small roots as well in the theatre world. So yeah, I didn't work with them for so long,
Okay,
but
so you did.
they gave me great opportunities.
So you did that. Came back to Nigeria. You wanted to do an album. You performed, I think, one of the governors. I think it was.
I didn't fear you, this guy.
Not fear me. I
Did
do
you
my
go and
work.
dig this information out? I'm shocked. I'm
So
shocked.
you performed. I think it was in Port Harcourt. Yes, and
Yes.
the governor's wife. She was doing something for our AGA. You
Yes.
performed
Governor Odili's wife.
Governor Odili's
Tapped.
wife.
It was called Tapped.
Good.
It was for youth and empowerment,
Empowerment.
NGO. That's
Great.
right.
And then somehow you lost your voice. You recorded an album. What happened to that album?
Well, it wasn't finished. Life is wow. That album was produced by the late great Sami Oposo.
Really?
Yeah, it was Sammy. In those days at King Studios with Kings Diogoro and all those Shegu Arinze, those
yeah.
days, it was never finished. And I lost my voice. So I think, and I lost my voice for a long time. I actually tore my larynx.
Oh dear.
So it took a long time to heal. And then by the time it healed, I think I lost my confidence because it wasn't quite the same, it was a powerhouse voice. But by the time it came back, it was more like a husky, Sade-ish kind of voice. And there's like a break even now in my voice. I have to sing above a note and below a note. There's a break in the voice where it cracks. So I think I lost my confidence. And then by then I'd opened up twice as nice studios. And I was concentrating on, my studio. It was a studio, and because I had to find a way of still being in the business without necessarily having to sing. Meanwhile, all this time I don't forget say I'm even actor because I started concentrating more on my singing, because I got this big break from singing at Her Excellency's
NGO.
NGO thing, which propelled me into other governors calling speakers of it just propelled me into the music scene as the female singer to be at these occasions. So you go in one way, God pushes you in another. So I never really went back to trying to record an album. I still sing on stage, doing with plays and whatever. Like, I can still cut a tune.
We would like to hear one before you go on. But let's look at how you came back into theater.
Okay.
Let's look at the Nigerian part where you were on the Vagina Monologue.
Yeah.
Now that name was kind of difficult to call on radio. Like so, and then in the north, it was something like we were like, okay, I wanted to see that play. Unfortunately, I've never seen it. But uh why that play for you in Nigeria? Because that play was very powerful. Maybe because of the name or because of the value in the theater play. What was it for?
Well, it all started with the original play, which is the Vagina Monologues, by Eve Ensler, New Yorker. And she wrote this play that was even controversial, even in New York, because I think it's the first time a woman had dared to come out and be so straightforward about what it is. It is what it is. A vagina is a vagina.
Yeah.
And why is everyone so afraid to talk about vaginas or even say the word? It's the biological name for our private bits.
We're
So,
Africans, we're not supposed
yes,
to
but
call it.
even Oyibo people, then you say vagina and they're like, but if you say penis, it's understood that a penis is a biological word. So when you say penis, it doesn't mean, but when you say vagina, it's like vagina. It's like, oh my God, how are you so crude? Why am I being crude? That's that's the biological name for what we have. So it was controversial in the sense that she used that word. It was controversial in the sense that a woman came out and started talking about topics that people even in Yoibo were afraid to talk about. Things like serious abuse issues, things like when women were used as sex toys during wars, to service soldiers. I mean, like even from their own, for instance, in Japan, the soldiers were given Japanese women as relief from against their will, from things like I had a piece. My first piece was called Hair, and the first line was, you cannot love a vagina if you do not love hair. And it was basically about a woman whose husband kept making her shave her vagina because he liked it smooth, and it irritated her. She would get shave bumps, and she would get red, and she'd get rashes, and she'd be uncomfortable, and going to the loo would burn when she wee weed. So so issues like that were being said. And why was it for me? Because hey, things like that is just right down my street, mate. Things people don't
Great.
want to talk about.
That's
We
what I
just gonna
wanted to
talk
get out. That
about
was what
it.
I wanted to get
Oh
out.
yeah, I ain't scared of you.
Okay,
No.
so that name and the concept of the show and the controversy gave you the spirit to push it forward, or you just wanted people to know the truth about this
The
organ
truth,
that we
the,
run
the
with.
truth. You see, everything is driven on truth. I'm not going to go and start talking rubbish. As in, I'm not going to start talking about, the eagle had the tusks of an elephant when the eagle doesn't have a tusk of an elephant. But if it does have a tusk of an elephant, why is everybody hiding it? An eagle has the tusk of an elephant. It has a tusk. It's the truth. So why are we trying to say it doesn't? Which is a problem we have in this country. When people say, call a spade, it is what it is. Why are we always trying to hide things? Or why are we trying to make things that are not necessarily bad look bad? For instance, saying vagina. Auntie Jockey, I don't even know. Am I allowed to
Joke
say?
Silver,
Yeah,
yes.
she had a piece called CUNT, cunt, and she was saying, courageous, um, um, confident, unique. She was going through the words, and for each word, C, it was all positive words. U, it was all positive words. And she would go, nice, noticeable. Then ter, isn't it nice? Cunt. And the audience were like,
Yeah.
but I mean, and if you look at the origins of the word cunt, I'm going to give you the homework to do.
Okay, I would
Go
like
and
to.
look at the origination of the word cunt. You'll be shocked. It's actually a noble word that was turned into a derogatory word and
Interesting.
given to women. But maybe you talk about that in another interview. But anyway, I'm not a controversial person. I just like to speak the truth. Stop deceiving yourself. It is
What it is.
what it is. You know. So I don't think there's anything controversial about, well, Oyinbo people say sometimes truth is stranger than fiction.
True.
So
True.
um
I,
yeah.
I, would, I would like to come into something. There's something I got here, and I'm going to recite. You tell me what character this person is, and
Okay.
it says, let me see if I can do it. It's a monologue. It says, "My party must be unrivaled in the land of echo partydom. The
The
big
big
boys
boys.
and inner caucus of Lagos elite, the custodians of Lagosian
Well,
class,
the one
the
percent
1%
of
of
the
the
one
1%.
percent.
Who was that?
Mopelola Honoré.
Okay,
Silly
now
one. Silly one.
now let's come to that character.
Okay.
How did you get that character?
It was so easy. I grew up with all these silly, superficial women.
Oh,
That's I mean, also they're ridiculous people. All these pretenders, pretending, having the initial money, but maybe having some issues, but trying to
to
it's kind of like my generation of what's happening with the social media nowadays. The what do they call it, the something
Gen
life,
Z. Okay, okay, the fake
the
life.
fake life,
Yeah.
but it was more of my generation where it wasn't so much a fake life, but some people did come across some problems, and because they wanted to keep up with the, keeping up with appearances, so to speak, they covered it. And, they still had to drive the biggest cars and be the richest, most aristocratic families. And a lot of them um, are very superficial. Sorry to say, we grew up from a strange bunch in the sense that, yes, we were supposed to come from that category of societal whatever. But my mom and dad were so down to earth, that we used to actually look at them like, what's wrong? Are these people okay? So it was very easy for me to get into the character because I grew up around, aunties and
That had
people that
that
had the
same
yes, I grew up around
issues.
around a lot of Mukbalola Hollowways, a lot.
There's a line in that movie as well that was I felt you were so mean, but you did it well. You said all the foundation in the world and had wrinkles have wrinkles.
Uh,
How
I think
mean can a person be?
I think that actually I sometimes question myself
Yeah.
because a lot of these lines are mine and
Really?
very terrible. My
I was
mom,
about to ask you who wrote this.
that particular line, it was me when they were yabbing me now.
Yes.
Says you are
In the church during the burial.
yes, and I was like, what can I give? All the foundation in the world, and her wrinkles have wrinkles, you know. And Bolani Austin Peters had to say, Elvina. She said, God, Elvina, what is it?
She called you by your real name.
She was like, God, Elvina, your mouth is so bad, But I think it's just the artist in me. When you get into a character, you then have to just build on that character and say, what kind of person is this? Why is she this way? And Mopelola had a sharp mouth,
Yeah,
a very sharp mouth.
she did.
Yeah.
And at the end, she had a wonderful family of. So you won most most Miss Big and Beautiful at some point, and I'm thinking, where's the big? Did you have to?
The big has flown away.
There was big,
There was huge.
really.
Yes, there was 210 kilograms. Huge. Yes. Um, yeah. But when I won Miss Big and Beautiful, I must have been, I wasn't as big as, at my biggest, I
Yeah.
was 210.
210.
But when I won Miss Big and Beautiful UK, I must have been about 158, 160.
Were you thinking of going into pageantry as well?
Never.
So what happened with that?
My friends forced me as usual.
And
I
then you
was,
won.
I was cajoled. Oh, I wasn't even cajoled. To cajole is to like tap. I was pushed. My friend filled out the form for me and put me in and said, "You must enter it because you're gonna win." And she was a model, gorgeous, gorgeous girl, Sybil, and she was in the modeling world and the world of pageantry. And in England, they had this Miss Big and Beautiful competition that she knew about, and it was quite a big deal. And she was like, Alvina, you have to go in. You're gonna win. I'm so sure. I was like, no way, no way, no way. And she filled the form, and she literally like forced me to do it. And shockingly, I won.
Did you feel like, okay, can I try another one or something?
Yeah.
Oh, and it was just done.
I was, when I say this, you laugh, but I'm actually very shy. Seriously,
Really?
honestly, it's this theater thing that has helped my life. Just being an actress, and obviously you can't afford to be coy when you're on stage, but that's part of the reason why I'm an actor, because I can get away with being all sorts of characters that you would never dare to be. Things you do on stage you never dare to do in real life and all that. And the older I'm getting, the better I'm much more confident now. But then I was a wallflower. The only time I would come alive was when I was on that stage, or I had a mic in front of me, or I had to dance or something. And then as soon as the performance was finished,
You go back.
yes, I'd go back to
So it's
my
like a phoenix on stage and a gentle
very small wallflower, in real life. But no, it didn't. No, no. Gosh, it was. I was dreading it. And, as soon as it was over, I was like, oh, phew. But then there was a lot that came after it because I had to go to other beauty pageants and judge and do a lot of newspaper, appearances and interviews. And I was like, oh, Lord, no, this is not, even if I want to be known for something, it's
Not this.
not because of beauty, because it's not something that you bestow upon yourself. It's just something that God gives to you. So how did you now have a hand in in kind of like saying, oh yes, I did this? You didn't. God did it. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
So but yeah, but, I mean, it was fun. I must admit it was fun, and I got to meet a lot of wonderful people. That was the best thing about it.
And that's the best thing about Side Talk. We'll go on a short break. When we return, we've got questions, and this time around, we'll go to the family front. And of course, what's next for Elvina Ibrera? Welcome back to Side Talk. Once again, my name is Jude Dawam, and I'm still here with the beautiful and kind
Where is she?
Elvina Ibru. Yeah, she's one of the coolest persons you would ever meet. I'll be honest with you on that. So let's come back and talk about family.
Okay.
How's Elisha?
Elisha is fine.
It's fine.
The love of my life.
I know, right? At 13, he was wearing a size 15. What happened to that?
Let's be specific.
Yes.
Size 15 shoes.
Shoes, sorry. Yes, size 15 shoes. Sorry, my bad. At 15, he was wearing size 15 shoes.
I don't know where the guy
And it
is.
scared you.
I don't know. I was like, are we gonna start, getting a carpenter to make shoes for him? I don't know where the guy is going to. Like right now, he's 16,
16.
now, and he's about 6'4", and he's still growing, and he's not just a tall guy; he's a big guy. He was supposed to go to school in England, just before COVID hit. And I remember the school had asked for like a video. They do all kinds of stuff nowadays to cross out child trafficking and all that. And as soon as the headmaster saw him, he was so excited. He just said, "Yeah, we've got a rugby boy coming."
Oh my goodness.
So he's just a huge kid. But then we're huge in we're
Yes, you're
naturally
tall.
big people
You're
in the
tall and
family.
all of that. Now, he's 16, and I've read in a lot of places, and some of your quotes, you said you were never going to get married. And I'm thinking, why?
Is he by force?
Okay, that's an interesting one, but what inspired that?
Nigeria, we don't really. This is something that I work with, mental health. I don't think we pay enough attention to mental health in this country, and I try my best I'm trying my best for us to face mental health, because in Nigeria it's always like, this person decreased, or oh my shit, we don't enter market, or is a spiritual problem, or they need deliverance. So why am I saying this? I come from a polygamous home. Maybe if I was born in England or the US of A, I would have been seeing a psychologist, perhaps, which is not a thing of shame. In Nigeria, you say you're going to see a psychologist. Yeah,
Don't mind.
oh, picking down Chris. But there, it's just about your mental well-being. Maybe if I had been seeing a psychologist, I'd be able to get to the crux of why I've never been one. No, let me not say never. I was at one point the typical, I want to get married to my knight in shining armor. And at some point in time, I just realized it was all bullshit in my head, if you know what I mean. And something just clicked. And I'm like, no, that's not going to happen, because I'm not going to sign that piece of paper, because there's too much. That piece of paper there's too much attached to it. Too much attached to it, especially in this society that we live in, because people might say, this one now, she no one marry, she no one settle down. Well, you can call me what you like.
Because I was about to ask, that the society that we're in, people will say, oh, so how do you deal with things like that, conversations?
To me, Day your day, let me do my day. Live your life, let me live mine. Okay. Now, you can be in a relationship that is healthy and happy and long term, but not necessarily having to sign that. Go and ask Oprah Winfrey. Go and ask Goldie Hawn. She and I say we're not Americans, but
Americans.
we are humans, and every human is a different person to the. Even Siamese twins are different to each other, and they came stuck together. Do you understand what I mean? So it's not a matter of, oh, because society says it is right to do this. It might not be right for you. You might end up being miserable. If I ever did get married, because one should never say never. You know, if I ever did get married, I see myself maybe when I'm 75 with a nice, silver fox guy, or maybe somebody half my age, traveling around Louisiana because we like jazz music and we love to listen to intelligent conversations, and we like to watch the theater, and it might be my companion. Or it might be that next year I say to you, Jude, guess what? I'm engaged. And you're like, wow, what happened? I said, I don't know. The same way it kind of clicked that I didn't want to, might click that I do want to. Or it might be that I have a special kind of married where I don't even live in the same house as my husband. And there's nothing wrong with that if it's fine by me and my husband. It doesn't have to be fine by you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for now, from where I'm sitting, too much is attached to that piece of paper. If I have a quarrel with my boyfriend that I've been dating for 10 years, and enough is enough, is honey, where the hon? It's been nice.
Doing business.
See ya. Right? Doesn't mean I've been sleeping around like a whore for 10 years. I might have been devoted to you. It's got nothing to do with wanting to sleep around or wanting to have your freedom in that sense. It's about being able to move at will for me. We're so attached to your mama go talk, your pikin go talk. When you're married, you're married to everybody. You're not married to one person, which I strongly believe in. I do believe that if you marry the person's family. And it's a lot. It's a big commitment. In Africa, you can't marry a man and just be married to just the man. You have to marry his sisters, his brothers, his wife, his mom, whatever. You have to be prepared mentally to know that it's not just you and me. Oh. Not enough you work like that for Africa so far. You understand what I mean?
Yes, and let's look at the marriages that we're seeing now, because we see a lot of you hear about a lot of divorces and stuff. Is it because we jump into it based off the fact that we feel like we're supposed to be married at a certain age, or we're forced by our parents and not understanding where we're going?
I think a lot of it is pressure. Not everybody is as lucky as me in the sense that I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
I do know what you
If
mean.
a lot more people don't give a shit, then there'll be a lot less broken marriages, because I know there's a lot of pressure. People talk about females being pressured or bribed into getting married. Males get pressurized too. Our boys are getting pressurized. By the time you're 32, where is she now? We've not seen and I'm like 32. Generally, guys don't even know who they are, let alone, bringing somebody else into the picture. That's not to say there are not mature
32-year-old.
25-year-olds that have been married since they were 25 and are now 80 and are still married. But again, individualism. Just because this person's daughter is married and she got married at the age of 24 does not mean that my own daughter should get married at the age of 24. It doesn't mean that she should get married at all, because frankly, if she doesn't meet somebody that she feels is right for her, then she shouldn't have any business getting married to anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. Sometimes a woman might say, I mean, I have a couple of friends that say they don't want to get married and they don't want to have children. And it's not by force. You will not be punished by Christ if you don't have children. Neither will you be punished if you don't get married. Do you understand what I mean? You should think more about how you should not steal somebody else's husband, or how you should not thief your neighbor's bread.
All right, so are you a Christian?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you go to church and all that.
Once in a while, when the spirit moves me, but I'm not a Bible bashing, I don't, it's not about going to church. Being a Christian is not, it's not, there's a difference between being a Christian and being religious. Religion, let's not even start because maybe some pastors will come and take me from my house and throw me in the altar and say I need deliverance if we just start with religion. But I try to be a good Christian. I try. And the word Christian means you should be Christ like. You should try as much. And what is being Christ like? It's simply just loving your neighbor. Be
Now,
nice, be kind.
you're from a very famous family, which of course a lot of Nigerians know. And every single time you probably are under the scrutiny of people. Oh, she is so so's daughter. Instead of saying, this is Elvena who does A, B, and C, is a tradition in Nigeria. How does that make you feel?
It is what it is. I fought for many years with it in the sense that I was always looking for not accolades. I was always looking for somebody to say, "Well done, you did this." Do you understand? Rather than it's because of your father. I remember when I was working for Classic FM, and somebody accosted me on the street. Said, "You're the one on the radio station." I said, "Yes." He goes, "You're really good. You're really, really, really good." And I was like, yeah, if I wasn't, then I wouldn't have been employed. And I said, no, I mean, really, did your father know that you were going to be when he built the station?
Oh,
I said, well, the last time I recall, the Oga of Classic FM was called Chris
Chris
Obosi. And my
Obosi.
name is not Elvina Obosi. My name is Elvina Ibro. He said, oh, you mean that it's not your father? I mean, I couldn't believe he was even so insensitive to be speaking to me in that way. He said, you mean it's not your father that owns Classical? I said, no. He said, I thought that was why you were there now, that, he just put you there so that. I said, thank you for the compliment. Excuse me, I have to go. So you have people that just, for years I fought. At one point I was like, should I change my name to Evina Michaels or something?
Oh dear.
But the face don't lie.
Yeah.
The Hebrews, you have very strong blood. It's like the Jacksons. Everybody,
Yeah, you
that's the Jackson member.
Yeah.
So I just stopped fighting it and just had to build the confidence within myself that it doesn't matter whether people think that it is you that worked for this or it is not you that worked for this. So long as you know that you are working hard, you are making a living for yourself, you are accomplished. You don't need anybody else to acknowledge that for you. So long as you acknowledge it for yourself. And, let's face it, man, Michael Libra was a badass. I'm not going to take away from him. My daddy was bad. He was bad, Papa Jamma. So it's hard to fill in
Oh, shit.
Elisha size 15.
Yeah, size 15. Yeah.
15 UK wide shoes.
Shoes.
It's not easy. But I can only strive to have a situation where when I'm gone, people will. I think it would be a thing of pride for Elisha as well. No matter how accomplished he is, you're not Elvina Hebrews' son. It's a thing of pride to me.
So when you got award, I would say all the places you've worked, you got award on radio. You got nominated in was for
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 AMA,
AMA,
I
which was
won Echo
Echo
Festival.
Festival. Yes. Now, when you look back at these things, how does it play in your mind? Do you feel like I've succeeded in creating a niche for myself, or you feel like
even start.
okay?
I don't think you can truly be. There was something a journalist asked my dad.
Yeah.
He said to him, "Sir, what is your definition of success?" And my dad said, "My definition of success is how many people you have made successful." So as the saying goes, it's better to be a kingmaker than to be a king. So I haven't even started. It's not about, Elvina winning awards. It's not about me getting all the accolades. It's about, I'd like to say thank you to this, to that, to that. And a big shout out to Elvina, because without her, I don't think I would have been here. For me, that is the greatest success you can have in your life too. When you see that in some little way, even if it's just a little way, somebody has become, something. Just it could just be because of the day they came to your house and they were hungry and you gave them good food to eat. And that was just all the person needed to be like, yes, this is, this food that I've eaten today, I must have it in my house. And, you just don't know. So I've not even started because, I've been producing, but not producing to the extent that I want to
Because I
produce.
wanted to ask if we're going to have a cinema production
Um,
from.
yeah, I'm
Uh,
working. I'm working on a couple of projects. Um,
what kind of story would Elvina put in the cinema?
in the cinema, it would be some nonsense to make money. I'm too direct. I'm too
Yeah,
true. In the
yeah,
cinema, I will be
yeah,
for commercial reasons. I want to make my money, and I want to do triple X, or I want to do,
yeah.
RRR. Just make the money. But when it comes to serious movie making, um, I would be talking about festival pieces, people that I would want to see for my skill and for the way I think. So I would be talking about, unfortunately, probably dark topics, things like mental health issues that I'm talking about. There's a project I'm working on. I'm the only one that's in it. I'll be playing a bipolar schizophrenic woman, 6 characters.
I would like to see that.
And there's another one about a kid who, I grew up in our time. There was a lot of jungle justice going on the streets of Lagos, and something happened one day, and it stuck with me for many, 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 many years. And I just had to write. I just realized that writing about it is probably what will get it, because I still had nightmares about this kid that I saw. He was burned, like, and he stole a pineapple. That was his crime. He was 16.
Whoa.
So that will probably be my first short. Something
Real is.
yeah. It's not gonna be a blog, but it's not gonna be, a billion naira plus at the box office. But the day I want to do one like that, I will do enough.
You mentioned, one of the stories I read. This is going to be a little bit emotional because you said when your dad was sick, he was mostly in America, and you had to shuttle Lagos to America because you couldn't bring him here because of the situation of the roads. If he has an emergency, you have to traffic and all of that. Now, looking at this period that your dad is gone until now, do you think Lagos has changed?
If we're referring to that particular issue,
Yeah.
no. I still, I mean, I went through some health issues last year, and the year before I was in England. And then last year, when decisions had to be made about, where I was going to get taken care of, I said, I don't want to go anywhere. I want to be in Nigeria now. Because we have, the, the, the healthcare system in the UK is so overrated, trust me. Even if you have your own money, as in, even if you're not on the national health, whatever, the doctors here are badass. We now have equipment here that is badass. We have good hospitals here. In fact, most of the specialists come and go. I flew all the way to England, and I came across the so-called best doctor, who was an Igbo man. And I was like, what are you doing here? Nah, let us be going home. Why did I fly all the way here to? You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
But infrastructure is still the only reason why, even if my dad was alive today and it was the same situation as it was with his health then, I would still be like, it's better we keep him there. Simply because, for instance, the other day, I went out and I had an appointment and there was no announcement, but I was stuck in one place for about 30 minutes simply because our presido was passing. And I said, I hope they know many people have died from this. because there's somebody that's just had a heart attack that needs to get to hospital. There's a woman that's pregnant with twins that's in labor that's going to give birth in the car. There's, I don't see how, I don't know if President Trump is passing, how the whole of one city stands still for 30 minutes. So in that sense, no. And like I said, if anybody, Jagaban, sort your shit out, man. We can't be doing this to citizens. We can't. I mean, you don't realize how, I always say, like, with little mistakes, like if you send somebody a message, you send somebody a message and they say to Elvis to give me my green glasses. And they say to Elvis, she said the yellow glasses. You see, you don't understand the importance of why it had to be green. You have to look at the deeper picture. You don't know what would have happened, if you got the glasses wrong or the glasses right. It could have been $1 million, if you know what I mean. Because it could have been a guy, as I love your green glasses, I want to buy them for $1 million. And then by the time they're faffing around, the person has to get on his jet plane and he's gone and he's forgotten about the glasses. Life is very deep at times. So back to your question, for that specific reason, until we get our infrastructure together, I would still have my dad if that was the case. In that sense, no, Nigeria has not changed. We need to get our shit together. I ain't going nowhere because I'm a Nigerian, proud, born, bred. I will die here. I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
If I wanted to be elsewhere, I would be. I can still be if I still want to go elsewhere. But no, I'm Rubuge. Where am I going? But we got to get our shit together. And we are a tragedy because unless you have potential for greatness, it's not a tragedy. That's Shakespeare.
Nice. So let's go back to the last question, which I wanted to ask, and you took it away from me. Now I'm giving it back to you. So, what do you, usually people will say, I don't want to be remembered. I just don't want to be forgotten. What is that thing that it is that you want the world to see?
I want the world. Ooh, it's an easy question, but it's a hard question. I think if one person that was not so nice can become nice because of something you did, then it's probably the biggest gift you can have in this life. It's like saying you're winning souls for God. If you want to put it in a, Christian
Perspective.
If like an Ebenezer Scrooge, if somebody's life can change from being a mean person to being a good person, and it is because of something I did, something they saw from far away, or and thought, this is not a bad way for one to be, because she did this to help this person, let me do this to help. It's like a domino effect. And I think that is probably, I want to be remembered for a lot of things, but I think that will probably be
the number one.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Elvina, for sitting with me today. I'm looking forward to the crazy movies and the good ones as well. I'll go to the theater to watch you.
I go to cinema
to collect the money. All right, thank you so much, and that's it on Side Talk with the superstar icon, Elvina Ebro. My name is Jude Thomas Dawam, and thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Remember that you can subscribe to this channel and you can share with your friends. See you in the next episode.